moving forward here, my first quarterback, and I usually don't have quarterbacks that high. So you know that I feel very, very strongly about Josh Dobbs. Only 16% roster, got cut by, it really wasn't really owned by many people on Arizona and didn't necessarily deserve to be. Although now in Minnesota, a very ripe place for fantasy production, especially after what we just saw. He didn't even know the playbook, Josh Dobbs, didn't know his teammates' names. He comes in and leads a gutsy, thrilling win here, driving him right down the field, and largely due to his legs, 66 yards on the ground on his 7 carries, in addition to a score there, but also threw for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, over 67% completion rate. Now he has back-to-back 25-point fantasy days, does Josh Dobbs. And again, it is largely on the back of his legs. But given that he had 2 turnovers, only 158 passing yards, and still racked up over 25 fantasy points, that just tells you the type of floor and ceiling that this guy's going to have. And now you can imagine what happens when Justin Jefferson comes back as early as next week. He is eligible, and sure, New Orleans a toughish matchup, but then you got Denver, 8th most points to quarterbacks, Chicago, the most points to quarterbacks, a bye week, and then very mediocre matchups from then on, right middle of the pack there in the Raiders and Cincy and Detroit. Green Bay, a little bit of a tough matchup in your fantasy finals, but hey, if he can get you there, you're going to keep riding. It just feels in my gut kind of like one of those stretch run heroes, a guy you want to root for, a guy that's fun to have on your team, both real life wise and fantasy wise. I could definitely see all the pictures at the end of the season. Josh Dobbs, stretch run hero after he gets traded to the Vikings. I mean, they got this most stacked weapons cabinet between Jefferson. Once he's back, Addison, he had that great rapport with TJ Hockenson, just like how he peppered the tight ends there in Arizona. And then you mix in the leg points too. I know he's not going to rack up Kirk Cousins type numbers through the air, but he doesn't need that much when he can make up for it. If he gets to 50 rush yards a week, which is he's averaging right around 45 right now on the season, he's averaging about 8 to 10 leg points on the season right now. So mixing in these type of passing game weapons, a great offensive system from Kevin O'Connell, you got to feel okay here about Josh Dobbs. I truly think he could be a league-winning stretch run hero for you. And I even think I'd have him above Will Levis, 41% rostered, so much less likely to be out there anyways. And this has nothing to do with talent. Will Levis, eyeball test-wise, I think he might have a top 5 arm in the league. He was making some throws on Thursday Night Football after his smash debut. I forget again, 26.6 fantasy points in week 1 of his starts, 4 touchdowns, 12.3 ADOT, most among quarterbacks that week, 7 highest of the year. He had some designed runs. He was looking like the next stud. And then he follows that up with some of these off-balance throws. He's just slinging it while he's getting tackled. He flicks the wrist. The thing just floats off his arm, drops it in the bucket of his receivers, ultimately threw 262 yards, but no touchdowns and interception, and did not have many carries, just 1 carry for 2 yards. So the designed runs got drawn back just a bit. But he has been named the starter right now. The reason I'm just not ultimately super, super high on him is, again, not his talent at all. I think he has shown more than any quarterback passer other than C.J. Stroud, of course. I won't go that far, let's be real. But all the other, like Bryce Young, I'd rather have Will Levis, honestly, if I was starting a franchise today. He can definitely sling this thing. But I don't think the coach here is going to let him. We know how Vrabel does it. He's been bottom 4 in pass attempts in every single year that he's been there. He loves to pound the rock, bleed you out, use his defense to really just try to out-physical you, outman you. And we saw 20 carries go to Derrick Henry this last week, another 6 to Tajay Spears. And it just didn't seem like they could fully unleash Will Levis. And that sucks because you put him on, let's think Doug Peterson's offense or obviously Andy Reid, something of that nature. I think Will Levis could be a true bona fide top 8 quarterback in the league. That's the type of, I know it's one game and it's a small sample, but those throws this kid was making, it really did pop off the page. Tell me how insane I am in the comments if you want to. But man, I think the kid is phenomenal. All that to say though, I think Josh Dobbs is in a more productive fantasy environment with better weapons around him, with a more pass-happy coach, and especially more leg points there for Josh Dobbs. So if I was picking one of the two, both of them are out there, I'm actually going to Josh Dobbs over Will Levis both this week and rest of the seasons. Why I think Josh Dobbs is going to be a true league winner for you if you need those waiver wire guys at quarterback. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.